Welcome back to A Game of Fangs and Thorns. My name's Hannah. This is a weekly reading vlog with a difference. Now, depending on what I actually name this, we have a 24-hour timer, so yes. This is my attempt at the 24-hour reading challenge that is going around. You've probably seen it before, but we have a 24-hour timer, which I will get momentarily because you can tell I never figure these things out. I never reset these things. Okay, so my timer only runs for 23, but we can do it for it's close enough to 24 hours. And basically every time I'm reading, we put the timer on. I am including audiobook time in this as well, but the book that I am concentrating on for audiobook is still Beneath the Keep by Erica Johansson. Prologue for the Tailing series before the main event. Basically, it's a bit of it's a standalone prequel about some people in the Tailing. We have 3 perspectives: a farm girl, a princess, and a nameless fighter from various walks of life, and I think things are starting to pick up from where I left off at. I have to be in the right mood for an audiobook, I'm afraid. And lately, I haven't been, but the physical, traditional read that I'm focused on is just out of shot, and it is Hamnet by Maggie O'Farrell. This is basically a historical tale on one of Shakespeare's kids, the boy Hamnet, and it is thought that his death inspired the play Hamlet. I think I'm only on chapter 1 because this is a long story. This is a long chapter. It doesn't really have chapters as such, it just has page breaks. But so far I've met Hamnet. His sister has gone to her bed ill, and we know that they are alone. Hamnet's grandfather and Juliet, grandfather, not that nice of a person, so trigger warning for child abuse, or at least hinted child abuse. But we're going to read this for a bit. I have the timer ready to go. You've just seen me set that up, so I shall come back to you mid-book or when I finish. Excuse me. Yeah. So I will come back to you at some point with an update on how this is going. It's still Monday. I'm about halfway through Hamnet, and I have been reading in sections, but I have about 22 hours and 40 minutes left. I've managed to read for about an hour and a bit. And I'm very intrigued by this story. It does seem to split between Hamnet and Juliet, his sister, Agnes, their mum, and Mary, the grandmother, in the present-ish timeline, and then it also switches back to a younger time scale of William Shakespeare and Agnes when they get married. And it is a very nice, dreamlike writing style. It's very immersive. It is still weird that it doesn't have chapter headings, it just has page breaks. But we can get used to that. And I'm enjoying it. I don't think it's too early to say if it's going to be a 5-star or not, but I am. Excuse me. But I am enjoying what I'm reading so far. And it will be interesting to see how long it takes me, how long 24 hours of reading actually takes me. But I have some journaling that I want to get done tonight. I want to watch the last episode of season 1 of Only Murders in the Building, and yes, I'm behind on that. But my new jammies are from Primark, and look, it's Jack Skeleton. Run, don't walk to Primark. If you are a Nightmare Before Christmas fan, go to Primark now. Pause this video, come back, finish the video. But I'll probably do that. Like I say, I've got some journaling stuff to do, and then I'll probably just watch Only Murders in the Building, do some cross stitch, because that's the project that's easier for me to grab, because it's right under the bed. Well, not under the bed, under the desk that you are currently resting on. And it's getting there. It's definitely getting there, she says, and still has like most of it left to do. So that's probably how I'm going to spend the rest of the night, because I'm getting tired, but I don't want to read all night. I do want to have some of my goals met, because I did spend yesterday, Sunday, writing out some weekly goals. I'm not going to show you because they're personal, but it's just like crafty stuff. Trying not to spend money, that kind of thing. But yeah, that's what I'm going to do tonight. So it's Wednesday. Finished for the day. Been to the corner shop and got a pop. And now I'm going to read. I have about 20 hours left on the timer. And I finished Hamnet. Finished that last night, but obviously it's very rare that I actually vlog on a Tuesday, isn't it? But anyway, Hamnet, I haven't ran it through Corpel yet, but it was a very sad read, very gripping, very emotionally driven, and it does answer some questions that I didn't know I had about Shakespeare. What I liked about this one is it is a Shakespeare story, but it's not his story. He features in it, but he's not the driving force for the story. He's not the main character. In fact, we only know who he is through context and inference and deduction. He's never actually named in the book, but we still know who he is. And I mean, I think personally it's probably about 3 or 4. We'll see what Corpel says, so I'll probably just do a big update of everything I've read in the week on Sunday. But I think what I'm going to read now is either Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. And all I know about that one is that it follows Daisy Jones and her band after they break up. It's told in interview format, so it shouldn't take too long to read. Or I'm thinking maybe Gild by Raven Kennedy. And all I know about that one is it is a dark King Midas retelling that's very dark, I don't know if it's graphic, but I know there is content warnings. I think the author herself has popped in a list of content warning, trigger warnings in the front page. So we shall see. I mean, we're not quite halfway through the month and I've read 4? No, 3. I've read 3 books in the month so far, so that's quite good considering one was True Blood, Divine by Mistake, and obviously now Hamnet. I'm sure. Is there another one I've read? No. Okay. I couldn't remember, but yes, I shall read either Daisy Jones and the Six or Gild, and come back to you when I've decided what I'm reading, and when I've got a bit more of an idea of what either of those books are about. So I did end up deciding what to read. I'm reading Gild by Raven Kennedy. I'm about this much through, and yes, the author or the publisher did include a content warning: explicit romance, mature language, violence, non-consensual sex, and emotional manipulation. So just be wary going in if any of those themes are difficult for you. So I'm on page 198, 199, which is about just over halfway. I am very much enjoying it. This, I think, was what I was in the mood for. We follow Arden, who is the king's golden girl, literally, and the king being Midas. He has gold touched her so that she is a living, breathing golden statue. Only her eyes, no, only the whites of her eyes, her teeth, and her tongue are a normal colour. And she also has these weird ribbony things going from her back, which are like prehensile tails. But the book does open on pretty much an orgy with Midas and his concubines, who are called saddles. And as I'm saying that out loud, I'm only now just getting the joke, because you write them. But anyway, so there's that. Oren likes being in this cage, or at least she does at the start, because the cage protects her. But at the start of the book, she is questioning that. She's questioning, is she being protected or is she being kept a prisoner? Then an attack from an unlikely likely source plays into it after Midas tells the other king from a different country, a different kingdom, that he can have Arden for the night, and nobody is allowed to touch Arden apart from Midas. So things take a turn for the worse, but it is part of that was my phone, not important. But it does take a turn for the worse. From Arden's perspective, as she is shipped off and moved as Midas sort of takes the next step in his master plan. And it is just fair enough, there is some sexual content at the start that does sort of set the tone for what kind of man Midas is. The rest of it hasn't been too bad. It's more about we're in a journey part now, where Arden is learning about the rest of the country, the kingdom, and it is a very intriguing read. It's only about 306. This edition, at least, is only about 389 pages. So if we go to the back of the book, technically that's only half a page, because then we have like an extract of the next book, Glint. So we shall crack on with this. I wouldn't be surprised if I end up finishing this in like tonight, but I have a 19 and a half hours left, so we're just going to crack on. I am watching Olivia from Olivia Reads a Latte's new vlog. While I do this, I have been in the shower, and this is just this drama set is like fast becoming one of my favourites. It's just so soft. It's from Primark. They have their Nightmare Before Christmas stuff, and I actually caught it this year. But I've rambled on enough. I'm just going to read, and if I finish this tonight I will let you know. If not, I will probably come back to you after work tomorrow, because I am back in the office. So to everyone's surprise, not least my own, I finished Gild. I think I'm just in shock that I've started and read a book in like 4 hours? 3 or 4 hours. Because actually no, yes. So I finished work at 4, went for a walk, started this. So yeah, I'm in shock. I don't actually think it took me that long to actually read it, because I only have like 18 hours left. Well, 18 hours, 24. But I did thoroughly enjoy this. I haven't run it through Copal yet, because with, like I said, with Hamnet, I'm just going to concentrate on the challenge and then do all of the admin-y stuff later. So that does mean that read 9 by 1 may be slightly delayed while I catch up with the reviews, because I think this is book 7 or 6 or 7 in the next lot. Let me double check that actually. Well, I would if I could find where I put my reading journal. I'm done. So Hamnet is 7 of 9. This is 8 of 9. So the next book I read will be 9 of 9. And I think, because it is only like 8 o'clock, I could probably get like an hour and a bit, an hour or so of reading in before I go to bed. I think what I'll probably do is just pick up Daisy Jones and the Six, which is the other book I was debating. And I know I told you what I thought that was about, but I'll probably update you now in the morning with my thoughts. So I'm gonna just dive right back into it. So I did get on with Daisy Jones and the Six. I'm on page 85, which what I'm liking about this one is it's sort of rather than being broke up into chapters, it's broke up into times. So we start in the early 70s. Right. We start in 1965, and I'm assuming this is going to end in, yeah, and then it ends in 1979. And because it's told in an interview format, it is very quick to read. This would make a good audiobook, I think. But I'm just about to start the section that runs from 1974 to 1975. The band, as it is, haven't met yet. We've met Daisy, she's doing her own thing, and then we've met the Six, and they're doing their own thing, and I'm assuming because they're both in the same place at the same time now, they're going to get together and do their thing and become this big, all magical, all knowing music band group thing. And I do think this might have been inspired by Fleetwood Mac. I think I've heard that. I don't know, yes or no, I can't say anything, because the only thing I know of Fleetwood Mac is Go Your Own Way, and that was because I had to sing it in a pantomime. But how much time do I have left on the challenge? 17 hours and 43 minutes. Let's get cracking. Now, Friday, I did it again. I finished the Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and I'm not gonna lie, the end got me a tiny bit teary. Why have I pulled that out? Oh yeah, I won't find my switch. And I just loved it. So tonight's plans will either be reading Assassin's Quest by Robin Hobb, which is the final, what are words? Come on, Hannah, think. The third book in the Farseer trilogy, the conclusion to that mini trilogy, but the third book in the overarching realm of the Elderlings multiverse extended universe thing. So I can't talk too much about that one, other than we're following Fitz, who is a royal bastard, and upon hearing about him, his father, the Prince Chivalry, promptly abdicates the throne, leaving the kingdom in a bit of turmoil. And the king decides that he can use Fitz. He's technically royal, but he's also half commoner, so he's a bit more expendable than, say, Prince Regal. So Fitz ends up being trained as an assassin. And the first book is his childhood, the second book is adolescence, I want to say. And then obviously this third book is when he's, I'm guessing, a little bit older. I can't talk too much about it, obviously, because it is the third in the series. I have a little baby curl. Look, I don't know what it's doing, but it's cute. Little. Oh, if only the rest of my hair would do that. Or there is Stuart Turton's The Devil in the Dark Water. Assassin's Quest is, well, I have it on ebook, and Devil in the Dark Water is a murder mystery set in the 1800s, I want to say, following the world's greatest mystery detective who's being transported on a ship for a crime he may or may not have committed, but he's imprisoned, and the first murder happens on this ship, and it's up to his bodyguard / friend, I think, to solve the crime. I'm hoping that one is spooky adjacent. I just can't get over this little baby head. It's quite long. Anyway, so yeah, that's my plans for tonight. In terms of the challenge, I have just under 15 hours left and a whole weekend to do it, so wish me luck. It's Saturday, I have about 8 hours. I've just put my phone down somewhere and I can't find it. No, in my look, I'm sitting on it. But yeah, I've been reading for a little bit. I did decide to go with Assassin's Quest by Robin Hobb, the conclusion to the first trilogy, the Farseer trilogy, in her overall series, collection of series, called that I think people are calling the Elderlings, the Realm of the Elderlings, but I'm going to take a break and play some Dreamlight Valley because I'm not slumpy. I'm just tired of reading. I need something different. I'm about halfway through the Realm of the Elderlings, and Kindle is saying I've got about like 8.5 hours left, and the timer says I've got just under 9 hours. So we should be okay, but I'm taking a break to play some Dreamlight for a bit. Sunday, I think I have like 3 hours left of the challenge. I did finish Assassin's Quest last night, and there were some parts of that really just tore at the heartstrings. Unfortunately, my current book, which is The Cities of Dead by Alys Arden, the third in the Casket Girls series, is going to be a DNF. I'm on page 82, and you guys know and I think I've told you my rule about DNFing before. I have to get to page 100 before I make a decision, but I'm pushing myself to get to page 100, and it's just not doing it. I think there's too much going on in this story. We've got too many points of view, and I think it's probably my own fault as well, because I left it too long before reading the second and the third book, and I cannot remember what the second one is called. So yeah. But the Casket Girls follows this idea that the girls that came over to America, to New Orleans from England, were with their cases, and their cases looked like caskets or coffins. This has the idea that voyage, that journey, brought the first vampires over to New Orleans. And there's also witches involved, because, New Orleans is synonymous with voodoo and that kind of magic. But I think it does work because New Orleans has the French Quarter. It has, I may be wrong, but it has like a Haitian influence, like African French. And it is one of the places I do want to go. I do want to visit New Orleans. Mardi Gras, or even in the colder months in Halloween, October. But I'm getting off topic. It just I loved the first book, but the second book probably suffered from second book syndrome, where I cannot remember any of it. And then this third book, I think there's just too much going on for me, and it's been too long. So unfortunately, that is a DNF, and for me and DNFs, I'm not personally that upset about them. I usually have a reason for DNFing, and a lot of the time it's a me thing rather than a book thing. And I think I'm just wanting a little bit more danger, a little bit more high stakes from my witches, my werewolves. Well, not werewolves in this one, but I'm just wanting that sense of seductive danger with vampires that I don't get from this series. But it is what it is, and it's 2 books I can get off of my Kindle, because I do read them I am reading it on Kindle Unlimited, and I have book 3 obviously and book 4 downloaded, so it just means I can get rid of those 2 and start something else probably. Speaking of that, I think the only 2 books I have left on my TBR for September, we're like halfway through and I'm nearly finished that TBR, but anyway, I think the only 2 books I have left are Between Ink and... it's not Ink and Chocolate. Between Ink and Shadows, which is just a free book on Kindle that I picked up that sounded interesting at the time, and the Between the Devil and the Dark Water by Stuart Turton. So I think because I have my Kindle down here, I'll just read that, Between Shadows and Ink. That's it, Between Shadows and Ink. Can't remember who it's by, but when I've started reading it, I will give you an update. I'm meeting a friend for lunch in a couple of hours as well. So depending on how long it takes me to get into the book and how far I get, I may have time to quickly write up some basic reviews for the books I've read and give you full thoughts at the end of this vlog. If not, I will tell you in the next episode of Read 9 by 1, which I should film sooner rather than later because I've just finished that next lot of 9. I think Daisy Jones and the Six got me to the next lot of 9, and then Assassin's Quest starts off a new set. So we have that, and I'm going to figure out what to read next. Just about to start Between Ink and Shadows, so I thought I'd better give you a brief synopsis from Kindle, and then I can tell you what it's really about. Ramona Weston has a debt to pay. Father's dealings with the dark society known as the Trust. The Trust cost her freedom. One way out of the contract, and that's to buy her time and pay the tithes, but when the Trust assigns him to a task in the King's Castle, freedom's not the only thing she'll risk. Warwick Spence has a secret. As King's Sentinel, he should be the last soul in Inara to risk association with dark magics, but long-hidden ties to the Trust are harder to shed. When Trust sends a thief to his room, he thinks he's found a way to be rid of them for good, but must be Nimona that he finds in his room. Magical contracts, blood debt accountants, which sounds interesting, and a deadly game. Epic fantasy with Regency flair and improper and slightly stabby heroine, with a penchant for trouble, clean, slow-burn romance, dark and twisty plot that pits magic against kings. So it seems like it's a fantasy romance, I knew that. But it seems like it's a bit gangstery, so we'll see how I feel about that one. Sunday, I've normally finished the vlog by now, I know, but I finished Between Ink and Shadows by Wright, and it's probably going to end up being a 3-star. It was what it said on the blurb, but I was expecting a bit more darkness, a bit more danger. The stakes just didn't feel very high. But that being said, I have 40 minutes left on the timer. I don't think I'm going to get The Devil in the Dark Water read in 40 minutes because it's an adult book, and we know adult books tend to read a bit more slowly. So I've gone off TBR and I'm going to be reading Catherine Doyle's The Lost Girl King. This is a middle grade, so hopefully it won't take me too long to read. And I'm thinking that this is a kind of a middle grade Arthurian retelling, but I don't think so, going by the back. Amy and Liam have been packed off to Grant's house in the west of Ireland for the summer. On the hunt for adventure, they stumble across a waterfall between worlds, the entrance to the land of eternal youth, Tir Nenog. I think I said that wrong. Soon Amy discovers that something in this magical land has gone very, very wrong, and now the headless horsemen of the Dullahan are about to turn the children's holiday into an impossible quest where everything is at stake. I still think this might be Arthurian inspired, but we shall see. I guess I have 40 minutes on the timer left, so I think I'll read this in 40. If I read it in less than 40, I'm not picking up another book. So I've hit the 24-hour mark, and I've got, I did read a little bit further into Lost Girl King, so I think when I got to the end, I think I was probably about here, maybe a little bit further, I'm not quite sure. And I am enjoying this book. I think it was that much. But I am enjoying it. Our characters, Liam and Amy, have been separated. Liam has been taken. Amy is trying to find him. And that's pretty much all I'm going to tell you, because I'm not sure what is a spoiler and what isn't. But I'm on a page 171 of 308. So I'm going to call it a night. Because I did the challenge. I think I've had a very successful reading week. This week, let's have a look. So we've read Hamnet, Gild, Daisy Jones and the Six, Assassin's Quest, Cities of Dead was a DNF, but I'm still counting it. Between Ink and Shadows, and I'm halfway through The Girl King, so that's pretty much a book a day. Well, ish. So I'm very impressed with this, and I will probably do another challenge like this at some point, but not next week. Next week I think I'm going to concentrate on audiobooks maybe, and my crafty side. Obviously the blanket will definitely need updated, and I have 6 reviews at the moment to do. Well, I think I did a review for Hamnet, but I'm not sure. So with that, I think this is a good time to end the vlog. So give this video a like if you like it, and subscribe if you want to see this, talk about these, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.